Welcome back to the Dr. Jonette channel. This is your channel for garden to table, delicious, brain healthy, body healthy recipes. Today we are making one of my favorite vegan no-bake brownies. It has only 6 ingredients, mixes up in no time at all, and it's delicious on-the-go snack. So let's get cooking. To start, I've started with a half a cup of dark chocolate powder. As I go along, I want to tell you why each of these ingredients is so good for your brain. Dark chocolate is good for your brain because it has flavonoids. Flavonoids are antioxidants and also increase blood flow to your brain. Your brain, of course, needs lots of blood. So to that delicious dark chocolate powder, it's unsweetened, by the way, I am adding a half a cup of almond flour, a half a cup of walnuts, and a half a cup of Sunbutter. So let's talk about the neuronutrition of coconut. Coconut has something called MCT, medium chain triglycerides. Medium chain triglycerides are a super energy source for your brain. They can be converted into ketones. Ketones is one of those things that's loaded with energy and it can cross the blood-brain barrier, giving your brain energy. So your brain your brain prefers to have glucose, but if it runs out of glucose, it can also use ketones. When your brain runs out of energy, it isn't going to work very well. In fact, it might look like you're having a stroke. What else is in here? Walnuts. Walnuts are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. Walnuts are a vegan source actually of omega-3 fatty acids. The thing you want to know about walnuts though, or pretty much all of your vegan sourced, plant sourced omega-3 fatty acids, most of them, in fact all of them but the seaweeds, lack an omega-3 fatty acid called DHA. DHA is important for brain development in kids. So if you're vegan, make sure you add into your diet either a supplement, or into your child's diet either a supplement or some seaweed that will provide that DHA, omega-3 fatty acids. And the other thing is that we have in here is Sunbutter. Sunbutter has vitamin E, chromium, selenium, magnesium, all of which are important elements, trace elements for our brain. Magnesium helps relax our blood vessels, giving our brain more blood. Vitamin E is an important vitamin in our pathway, one of our pathways for creating neurotransmitters, and it also provides our brain with some antioxidant properties. So Sunbutter is a great source of some of the trace elements that our brain needs. What else are we adding to our delicious, brain healthy vegan brownies? I'm adding some vegan probiotics, also known as Greek yogurt, a half a cup. If you've noticed, I'm adding kind of a half a cup of everything. A half a cup of the dark chocolate, the coconut flour, the walnuts, the Sunbutter, and now the yogurt. And lastly, I'm not adding a half of a cup, but I'm adding a quarter of a cup of some delicious maple syrup. Our probiotics, our yogurt, are so important for our gut. Our gut needs a balance of healthy bacteria. If we don't have a predominance of healthy bacteria in our gut, our unhealthy bacteria, because our gut is loaded with unhealthy bacteria, will start to take over. In other words, if we've used a lot of antibiotics, especially, I tell all my patients when they take antibiotics, they want to make sure and get some probiotic yogurt and eat a half a cup of probiotic yogurt every single day that they're taking their antibiotics. And what that does is it helps restore all of those good bacteria into their gut so that they don't get the diarrhea that can be associated with antibiotic use. And even more importantly, there's a really nasty bug out there called C. diff colitis, and it can make you just feel awful. And taking those probiotics helps protect against it. So now we're going to mix everything up in our bowl here. And how are we going to form our brownies? What I do is I take the brownies and put them in a ice cube tray. I like to actually freeze the brownies in the ice cube tray. If you enjoyed and found this video informative so far, thank you for ringing that notification bell. I like to, once we get them mixed up, and they're fairly soft actually. In the summertime, these brownies can be very soft. So I keep them in the freezer, and they make a delicious, icy, yummy, healthy snack. When I come in from working outside in the garden, when I come in after getting some exercise. So now that they're pretty much mixed up, and the other thing you could do if you didn't have an ice cube tray like this, you could actually roll them into little balls, freeze them. You could roll them into little balls like energy balls and roll those in some additional coconut flour or coconut and then freeze them as energy balls that you can then just grab for on-the-go snack. So my simple is smart tip for this recipe is get creative and make it healthy. Instead of Sunbutter, use almond butter or even peanut butter. Instead of the coconut flour, if you don't have it, you can use almond flour or any other nut flour. You could even use rolled oats in place of that. In place of the maple syrup, you could use date sugar or even ground up dates. And the dark chocolate, well, it just needs dark chocolate in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead now and put this in the ice cube trays, and we're going to pop that in the freezer and freeze it up. I'm one of these people that likes to use my fingers. I find it just works so much better sometimes. I was probably one of, in fact, I know I was one of those kids that loved to make mud pies and make, use my fingers when I was making things, finger painting. Some kids I've noticed don't like getting their fingers dirty, their hands dirty. One of my grandsons isn't a real fan of getting his hands dirty, and so it tends to be a little, which is interesting when you think about it. Each of us have different sensory preferences, and one sensory preference isn't necessarily the best sensory preference. Some kids or some of us like more stimulation, more sensory input, and other kids don't like so much sensory input. For example, we recently took the grandkids to Legoland, and there was a kid there that was so happy and excited to be on one of those rides that twirls him around and around. And the faster he went, the more excited he got on this ride. And then I noticed there was another kid on that same ride that was, I want alpha here. I don't like going fast. I don't want to twirl. He just was okay going around the track, but not twirling the cart that, you could twirl the cart, kind of like the teacups at Disney World. You could twirl the cart. And he was like, no, I'm not really a fan of that. So each of us has, that's what makes it each of us unique. We have different preferences. We enjoy different things. And I love dark chocolate, but I also know not everybody loves dark chocolate. So I've got my fingers a little bit dirty, and it's now going in the freezer. We'll be back in about a half hour. I'm going to unmold them and we're going to give them a try. So we'll see you back here in a bit. I just took these delicious, healthy vegan brownies out of the freezer and put them on this plate. They're still a little soft, but I had to try one and they are delicious. So thank you for watching, for clicking that like button, as well as subscribing and signing up for notifications. All of this helps me grow my channel. Also, when you go to my website, growwithdrjoannette.com, you can see this recipe as well as so many other garden to table, healthy, nutritious recipes that are great for your brain and your body. Also, while you're there, click that health button and explore my 6 pillars for health and longevity. And we'll see you next time on the Dr. Joannette channel. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching.